Actually took us a whole week to get through that. Actually, more than a week. We've been listening to snippets of each of those. That was actually the final seconds. Fitting that we're coming into the NFP in 18 minutes now. Now, don't expect a huge reaction tonight, but don't underestimate how important it is, the number. All right, now what I mean by that is that with the US elections coming up in approximately 4 days, you aren't going to get too many people pushing, breaking key levels. No one wants to have too much exposure into the weekend. Say if there's some new revelation around Clinton or new revelation around Trump, that completely changes the game on Monday. Every pair is in play in the US election as well. So why it is extremely important for trading post-election, it's not that important for trading in the next 2 days. Now, if it is strong, then we're going to shut the gate on a December 8 hike. It's definitely going to happen, right? We can start to price that in, and then post, say, a Clinton win, we can get very aggressive, I believe, in the long dollar yens, and that's the way I really want to play this. But that's on Tuesday, all right? Tuesday night, Wednesday, Asian time. Asian session Wednesday is going to be the big moves, and we're probably going to see dollar yen break 100 or break 105. Literally, that's the sort of moves I'm expecting there on Wednesday next week. Tonight, I don't think any number will move the market 100 pips. All right, that's the sort of situation we're in here. That doesn't mean that we're not at some interesting levels. We're definitely at some interesting levels. Dollar yen has pulled back towards the 102.60 support. Yesterday bounced off it quite handsomely, and it's on the front foot, sort of in terms of just placating the bears for now. There's no new stories to get Trump supporters, too hyped up here. But the other pairs are creeping. Now, the euro is definitely creeping, but the pound is actually taking advantage of the UK High Court decision to testing some of those levels. Now, it's 125 is not the level you have to be interested in here. It's actually 125.90. Okay, the previous breakdown level. If we can get back to that level, that's the level I'm really interested in selling the pound at. Any sort of move towards this level pre US election result, I think, is a very good risk reward buy. Sell, and that's the sort of main trade I'll be looking at with the pound. I'm not really interested in chasing here. I was long down below. I've taken profit already. I'm out. I'm neutral, and I'm only interested in actually selling now. So I don't mind selling the pound at 126, 125.80 to 126. The euro, while it's should be under pressure next week if Clinton wins and the numbers are decent today, it may not give you the pips, right? It's a little bit quieter. So it's still broadly capped. This sort of downtrend, obviously everyone's looking at the same level. Makes it a little bit more hesitant, but I don't mind selling it as well. If I had to trade and I could only trade the euro, then yeah, I'd be selling into a rally towards 105, 111.50 on a small weak number. A really weak number, maybe not. But we will go over each of the potential results and the best pair to trade after we have a look at each one just quickly. Aussie dollar took advantage of some strong retail sales. Remember last week we did, earlier this week we did pre sort of scare in the market. We were testing 77 as well. Then Trump came out. The polls came out saying Trump's winning. Market dived in the US session, and you got some selling through. Caught that up, back up here. Some pretty strong numbers. By all rights, we could have broken 77 if there was an NFP US election ahead. Yeah, so this market is looking very strong. It's one of my favored markets to buy against the US dollar. Um, and I think it's much better than the Kiwi. The Kiwi is going ballistic and everyone's looking at it. But with the RBNZ likely to cut next week, and I think we will talk about the RBNZ next week a lot because we obviously trade Oz and Kiwi a lot over here. The RBNZ, the higher the Kiwi gets, the more likely they're going to cut. They've got this little catch-22 here that you actually don't want this to rally much further, otherwise it's going to force the RBNZ hands. So the Kiwi today is actually a pretty good sell towards 74. If I get a 74, 73.80, I'll be looking to sell up there in anticipation of next week being US dollar strength post-Clinton. But it's a bit of speculation on that one. Okay, it's not the cleanest way of playing it, but I do like to sort of sell the Kiwi as it's getting up there. I may actually be looking at the Aussie Kiwi whenever this pair gets towards 74. Alright, so Kiwi's getting a little bit ahead of itself. It does this though, it's a widow maker in the market. It puts traders in the ground all the time, so trade that with a little bit of hesitation. Stocks have continued to fall. 8 days now in the S&P. Now, obviously they're under pressure, but I think most of this is just pre-election jitters. So I'm not reading into it too much, but I'm definitely it's making an impact on the dollar yen, which is my favorite way of trading. This announcement tonight, and this is favorite way we've been trading it for the last few announcements, where we've been making money on it because it's relatively clean way to play NFP. So I've got a couple of trades to do tonight, mainly around buying the dollar yen. Comes smack bang in at anticipations, I'm buying dollar yen. Comes in slightly weaker than expected, I'm buying the dollar yen dip. Comes in super strong, or strong above 200k, I'm looking to buy dollar yen, or I'm looking to buy Aussie yen. I'll bring up Aussie yen for you. So that's the main way I play. Now these trades are conditional on Clinton winning, right? So they're not going to do very well next week if Clinton does win, but hopefully we've got our a little bit of distance between the entry we have and the result on Wednesday, so we're not really under too much pressure. But it is the main way I'm looking to play. Now, super strong number. There's another trade that I do like, which would be selling Euro Aussie. And I was thinking about ways to play super strong numbers without having exposure to the US. Euro Aussie won't do well if Trump wins though. Okay, keep that in mind. All right, but it won't get completely wrecked right away. You'll still have some time to react. But the reason why this would go down if it's a super strong number is that the euro will be more sensitive to that than the Aussie, and the Aussie will gain if stock markets rebound relative to most pairs. So the Aussie will do well in a risk-on environment led by a strong number. Aussie against the US might fall, but euro against the US will probably fall further. So that's another way of playing the market if you don't want US dollar exposure. We can have a look at that later after the number if it is strong. It's a little bit... I mean, look, everything we have here, we can't get away from this US election. Everything is going to be affected by the risk on, risk off. You can't get away from that. You can't pull out the US dollar. You can't pull out the risk on, risk off. There is no pair that is trading immune to those two big factors at the moment. It's the main reason the euro's here is Trump. The main reason. Short squeeze shouldn't have got it past 110. With that last little leg is all Trump. Pound is short squeezing by itself. It could be here by itself anyway. UK election result, UK High Court result was a trigger for the short squeeze. Short squeeze probably would have had more room to run just in any normal scenario. That does make the euro pound selling case strong, but not here, not these levels. Okay, so let's get back to the NFP though. I don't want to go sidetracking you on some other trade ideas and next week's US election too much. Then the announcement's coming out in 9 minutes. Okay, so the main things you do when you're coming to an announcement, check where the market is relative to where it's been, where the market's moved this week. So this week we definitely had US dollar selling. That means US dollar short-term position holders are short. Okay, if anything's going to produce a large result here, it's going to be a strong number above 200,000. That's going to be the bigger result than if it's a weak number below 100,000. Okay, a weak number below 100,000 may not get the crazy price action you expect. Market's already on a weak footing, already sold off a fair bit. The chances of a whip on a weak number are stronger, I think, than the chances of a whip on a strong number. Okay, so the impulse to sell dollar yen on an 80k headline print as it breaks 102.60 might be strong and might look good on the chart, but given where we've come in the last few days on the dollar yen, that would be dangerous. Yeah, and the market could easily just reverse on the slightest bit of news regarding the election later in the day. I don't think that I would be chasing a super weak number on the break. And now, when I'm talking about the whip here, I'm talking about the market doing two-way action, and it does that a lot. It does that a lot. It does that a lot on NFPs. But when you're analyzing pre-game how to play it, and these sort of trade ideas are not rock solid. You got to watch the market. You got to watch the numbers. Yeah, you got to watch the stock reaction as well. So there's a few things going on. I mean, a stock reaction where it's a 120, but the Dow doesn't fall, means the dollar yen reaction will be a lot more skewed than you might have expected. It's not just let's plan it and play it. It's let's plan it, potentially play it, and then watch and observe 3 or 4 connected markets, depending on the pair you're trading. If you're trading CAD, look at oil. If you're trading Aussie, look at stocks. If you're trading dollar yen, look at stocks. If you're trading euro, look at dollar yen. Okay, but we'll try and not get whipped out here in the market in 4 minutes time. Most of the big banks are putting out pretty generic expectations. It's around 170, 175, 180 is the headline. Citibank's 187. Goldman's 185. Can't expect the market to. I mean, you can't expect them to come out with some big calls here today. ADP was a little bit weak, but nothing crazy. Some of the other numbers have been pretty strong though. Weekly unemployment claims have been pretty strong. But I think this market here is pretty clear that I think everyone who's watching the Fed expectations, that's another thing we should be looking at, and I'll update you on after the announcement as well, is what's happening with the expectations for the Fed rate hike. Maybe it doesn't do the full move until after the US elections. But if you see it tick up 85%, 90% on a decent number, then I think you can basically then start to plan your strategies about buying US dollar. Just picking the pair, picking your poison there is going to be important. Now next week post the US elections. If Trump wins, we're going to have to completely change everything, right? We're going to have to talk about that and be very careful about how we play. Anything. The whole game will change. If Clinton wins, it'll quickly go back to being normal. And so we'll just we'll deal with that when it comes out. It's actually 11:30 here, boys. Had a little nap. 4 minutes. So strong number should strong numbers should lead to a bounce, given the stock market's been so heavily sold. Tacos. Whether that is sustained is very unlikely. Very unlikely. So medium number, we're buying dollar yen. Medium weak number, 120ish and above. 120 to 160, we're buying dollar yen on the dip. A super weak number, we're looking to sell the Kiwi dollar towards 74, or the euro dollar towards its trend line. We're staying away from the Aussie dollar most trades, except for a strong number above 200k. We're looking to buy dollar yen or Aussie yen, or sell euro Aussie, depending if you want US dollar exposure or not. So hopefully that clears up. If you're looking at how I'm going to be prepared for this, let me get the trade charts up. So we have the right pairs. So if anything, we're looking to sell the euro, buy the dollar yen, sell the euro Aussie in some scenarios. Staying away from the pound, staying away from the dollar Swiss. Staying away from the Aussie Kiwi till next week. That's going to be a great little trading opportunity though. Staying away from the CAD because oil's too weak. Potentially selling the Kiwi here on a strong number. Sorry, on a weak number, and it gets back towards 74. You missed just Euro pound sell if you're a Euro pound player. Euro Swiss, we're not looking at that until after the election. Set nice levels to buy that. Aussie yen we might be buying. Let's go on a 5 on a strong 200k-ish number. Depends on the stock markets though, boys. It does depend on the stock markets. And we're not going to be looking for too much action today. Alright, we're not going to be looking for crazy stuff. Gold I didn't talk about too much. Obviously the initial move down in gold on a strong number, but gold's very much in play, very sensitive to US election headline. So you basically won't get a smooth reaction to this. If anything, you might see a quick buy on the dip if the numbers come in decent, because people want to be buying gold. There's a lot of gold nutters out there right now, building up their expectations of Trump winning. Same people who think who want Trump to win. Okay, numbers out. Oh God. Smack bang expectations. Buy Aussie yen. Buy Aussie yen and buy dollar yen on those numbers. I wouldn't be selling the euro just yet, but that's not too bad either. Man, the market's not moving at all. This is a counter. Yeah, okay, that's it. Oh, dude. I told you it was probably going to be muted, guys. When it comes out mid-rant, I'm looking at some other charts across here. It comes out mid-rant and it's like, okay, what? God. It's untradeable. Pretty much untradeable. So yeah, it looks like no one really wants to build up exposure before the weekend, where there could be some headline risk over from the US elections, new polls coming out over the weekend. I don't think you're going to see big moves. It was a good number for the US Fed hike. I'll give you the expectations change for the Fed raising in December shortly. I mean, that's definitely not weak enough to change the gap in the market, NFX. So if you're wondering why they're buying US dollars on that, it's because it's basically a Goldilocks number that allows them to raise rates, and the market was already short US dollar. I haven't changed my minimum trade size to one lot on that account. Yeah, so the weakness of the US dollar during the week has led to the positioning squeeze here. Nothing more than that. The numbers were basically spot on. 160. The weekly hourly. Sorry, the average hourly changes. Came a little hotter. So they could probably, you could seize upon just the hourly earnings. That could be enough to get the market to squeeze here, given that the headline's basically spot on. Canadian data came out at the same time, very strong. So dollar CAD might be the biggest mover here in the market. Oh wow. Oh wow. Oh god. It's putting some people in the grave. A lot of people have been selling dollar CAD just expecting to go down. But yeah. Wow. I mean, that's not a huge move, but just it's taken on US dollar strength. Yeah, so don't expect too much price action. I think we're just going to go into holding patterns until next Wednesday, Asian time, when we get the results coming through. Just keep an eye on the headline risk tonight, though, from what's going on in stocks. They're not even moving. Keep an eye on headline risk as well, just related to the election. Might keep things capped. I don't expect us to get past 103.50 today. So if I was going to do, I might just buy some dollar yen. That's about it. As long as dollar yen stays above 102.60, I'm pretty happy. Kibby, the election exact timeline, I'll have more information for you on that. But I think I remember last time it was pretty much done and dusted. As long as it's not too super close, they'll call it relatively on the first day. So that'll be Asian time. Wednesday, but you never know. Seems to be the only movement in the market is dollar CAD. We did have some headlines earlier from OPEC. One sec, let me find that. OPEC sources say Saudi Arabia is threatened to steeply raise oil output at meeting of OPEC experts last week after Iran refused to cap output. Oh wow. Oh wow. That would be ultra negative for oil. Oil's just getting hit by just relentless negative news. Alright guys, looks pretty late here for me. Just keep an eye on stocks here. If stocks want to break lower, that could reverse dollar yen. Stocks aren't moving much either, so dollar yen might not move much either. If that's the case, then don't be looking for too much movement on this particular pair. So unfortunately, it's not that tradable. Gold's not moving either, so. But it was always going to be the case that if the numbers came in like that, we weren't going to get movement. So don't be alarmed. It's just the fact that we have the election up. Might just quickly go over some election news with you to finish up this stream tonight. Might get a move of the euro back down towards 110.40. It's definitely taking its time though. I wouldn't trade it. I don't trade market like this. It's not great. These guys are stealing my trade idea. They want to buy Aussie yen post Clinton. I think a lot of people on the same trade idea. Aussie yen just makes so much sense. It's just a combination of beautiful things. Remember Goldman came out a couple of days ago saying they expect $40 a barrel oil if OPEC don't make a meeting in December. Don't make a decision in December. And gold probably be the second biggest mover to the downside if Clinton wins. Suspect it will go to new lows within the month, ahead of the NFP. Ahead of the US Fed. This is a nice little presidential playbook. If you want to see what they feel is going to happen. Aussies are the great. Hungry. We've got the best currency in the world going forward, man. They've gone to neutral and our commodities are getting surged. And China's bouncing back. I like the outlook. I like us to be as strong as the US dollar, if not stronger, in early 2017. But analysing and, trying to predict FX movements is really hard. Anyone super confident on direction is likely a full-time analyst, not a full-time trader, or does no trading, because the market is humbling. Yeah. So the analysts who are super sure, super confident, they're the ones who are not trading. So Aussie Yen is a really good buy if Clinton wins. Alka, BMO. But right now, it's just an okay buy. Probably a little dangerous. It's a good level if Clinton wins, if you get in now, but you run the... I mean, where do you put your stop is the hard question. Headline risk over the weekend could easily push that pair down 100 on Monday morning. So there is some risks there. If Clinton wins, the main way to play it is long Aussie Yen, long dollar Yen, long Euro Swiss. Euro Swiss is the safest way of playing a Clinton win from here, from these levels. It's actually a trade I might do right now for you, because I think Clinton's going to win. Even if she loses, downside's capped at 106. That's the Brexit low. It'd be very hard for a Trump win to push it below Brexit low. And if Trump does win, there could be some very good opportunities. Perhaps he will be very much restrained by Congress, which is, very likely. Therefore, he won't be able to do anything. Well, Dave, you better hope they cut, mate. The chances of RBNZ cutting are now 60%, right? It's dropped from 80% in the last week. You need them to cut and keep on outlining that they're going to keep on cutting. And if you do that, then you should be okay. If they do that. Now, if they cut and say they're done, the Kiwi will probably rally still. But maybe the Aussie will outperform it still in that scenario. Okay, so there is still hope in that scenario. If they don't cut, we might go below parity. Just for funds. Alright, boys, I might finish it there. Unfortunately, the market's not going to move much now. It's done its move. The rise in the Dow is supportive of risk, supportive of Aussie Yen. So that potentially could be a trade. Keep an eye on the pound and 125. If it breaks, then look at 125.90 as potential sell zone. But that's the only thing I'd be looking at later today. Alright guys, have a good night.